Okay, I'm doing a video about the history of Pontyates, and I'm starting off filming what was the New Inn pub, because I'm starting on the football that was played in Pontyates back in the 30s, 40s and 50s, and I'm going back when I was a little boy. I was born in 1949, and I remember this then being a pub, and the Pontyates football was changing. Yeah, this was a garage at the time, and they didn't have showers then. They just had sinks laid out for the soccer boys. And a lot of people now living in Pontyates who are young and just moved in will find it hard to believe then that Pontyates had such a good soccer side that they played Cefneithin and even Swansea. Now, of course, Swansea is now in the first division. It's 2014 now, February 2014, and they're doing well. And a lot of people will find it hard to believe that Swansea used to come to Pontyates and play Pontyates. That's how good Pontyates was. But then in cup games, you see, Pontyates used to do so well in cup games. And I remember this being just a garage with sinks in it, where the soccer boys used to come down. Now I'll go up now and show you where the field is, because a lot of you will be surprised to see where the field is, because they have now built houses there. We'll go up here now. I'm on Google Map, by the way. My connection here is a bit slow. I'll take you up here now to where Pontyates used to play soccer. Now, Pontyates was all soccer then. It's all rugby now. But then it was all soccer. No rugby at all was played in Pontyates then. Right, we're going up now to the field. Excuse my connection. This is BT is supposed to have 15 megabytes, and I think I've only got about 2. Right, of course they've built houses here now. This Google map is 5 years old, and if I turn to the left here, you can see these houses have been built, but they hadn't built houses here. Now this was where the soccer field was. Even that house there wasn't there, or the bungalow on the side, because this was one big field. The goalpost would be here, but there. And this is where Pontyates used to play soccer, in this field here. It's a flat field, as you can see. Now, of course, they've built houses here now, and you've got the farm there. And the entrance to the field was here, where the bungalow's here. There was gates going in here, and the entrance to the field there. And this is where, believe it or not, Swansea, who are in the first division now, is to come down and play Pontyates. Now, people will find that hard to believe, but you can only ask your grandparents, and they will verify that. They will tell you that Pontyates had a good soccer side. I'm going back in the 30s, 40s and 50s, even before my time. Now I remember, because I was born back in 1949 in this house here. It's 109 Hale Cefneithin now, but it was then number 1 John Street. I was born here and spent most of my childhood days here, and I remember going over to the field here, watching Pontyates playing soccer and playing against Swansea. Now we'll go back down now. That's the soccer side of Pontyates. Of course, when I was born, Cefneithin wasn't there then. Cefneithin wasn't there. And then they built Cefneithin, and I landed up living in 26 with a fun on. And Shop James started off here. They had a shop there. And of course James's shop then became bigger. And they had the shop here. But this was the doctor's house, Dr. Hughes. And I gotta say, he was a crap doctor. I had asthma, terrible asthma at the time, and he was telling me not to run and things, and running helped me get rid of my asthma, and he was putting me on these medications. Oh my God. So anyway, he died. James bought this and started a shop here. Right, we go down here now again. Give you a bit more history. I'm trying to hold a mobile in one hand and film and use the mouse on the other, which is a bit difficult. Right, this is where we had Shop Trahan. Now Shop Trahan was here before James started a shop. And on the side here of the Shop Trahan you had a slaughterhouse. As a little boy I used to go down and watch them kill the cows. And they used to use this gun with a bullet in it. I remember a little boy, it was a lot for me to see then, and a bit educational, because they used to bring the cows here, hold this gun to the head and bang, and you see the cow falling down, and then I used to watch them cut the cow up, and that put me off meat. I wasn't a big lover of meat. But that was the Pontyates slaughterhouse, right, yeah, where we used to get our meat, and of course they used to supply all the shops in Carmarthenshire with the meat. Right, we go down here now again, show you a bit more history. Of course I no longer live in Pontyates, so I live in Cefneithin, but I'm trying to go back to Pontyates. Right, we got now here showing Crun houses now, but I remember the huts being here. You had huts, you didn't have the road going in there. You had huts, one line of huts going all the way up there, and they were really slums. They were cardboard boxes. I remember when I was little I used to go down and play with my friend Darryl James. He was born in one of them. Of course they knocked them down in the late 50s. And coming down here now, my old house there where I lived for 22 years. I got happy memories there, but I moved in the end because you could see there the dampness, and it had gone so bad I just couldn't stick it anymore. But the mistake I did was move out to the village. Right, we go down here now. If I can just show you the tips here, where we had the coal tips. Right, down here now you got the park, but when I was a little boy you had two big huge coal tips, because down here the colliery was, and of course if you go further down to the brickyard, that's where the shaft was. You can still see the shaft on the right hand side as you're going down the brickyard, the steep path going down. You look on the right hand side, you'll see the shaft. And I remember a little boy coming down here, and we used to have sinks and slide down the coal tip, and in the winter of course it was better still. And then we used to build our bonfires here. There were two big coal tips there that they got rid of. And over here you had Cefneithin's farm over there on the left, where we used to get our milk from. That's where Pontyates used to get the milk. They used to bring all the milk. Of course that's where the cows came to be slaughtered. Cefneithin's farm then was a big huge farm. A lot of cows there that were being slaughtered up in the slaughterhouse, and we had our milk from there. All that now gone, of course. And of course we go down here now, and we'll see the school here. Now when I was in school, we had the bell there. Can you see the bell on the top there? That was being used when I was in school. Big cord pulling it down. Of course I hated school. And then you didn't have secondary modern school when I was in school in the 50s. You had boys then and women, well my older sister and friends and a lot of boys then in this school up till the age of 15. till I left school. You had no second and modern school. The school then was packed. And I remember my older friends in school then. Right, we go down here now again. I'll show you a bit more now. Of course, the Gwynfreth pub there. I'm trying to remember everything because there's a lot of history to Pontyates. Just hope my Google map, sometimes because the connection is so slow, the Google map just happens to freeze. Right, we got here now on the left where the undertaker was. This is where all the coffins were kept on the left there, and everybody, well, most people in Pontyates then were kept in the coffins here before they were buried, and the undertaker, and of course that's gone. And on the right here now we got the garage here now, but this used to be a cinema. I remember when I was a little boy coming down here to watch films. We used to watch films here, and I remember my first film was Moby Dick, black and white film, because this was a cinema. It wasn't a garage then. Shows you how times have changed. Right, we got here the Ruth pub. Now it's called the Ruth pub because back before I was born, you had a canal coming up here. You can still see part of the canal, but there you had the canal coming up here, and this was the 8th gate to the canal. You had 8 gates here, and this was the 8th gate, right? And of course 8 in Welsh is Wyth, and they called this the Ruth. Now we had 3 chip chops in Pontyates, okay? One was beer. It's a bungalow here, that was a chip chop when I was young. One of the chip chops. Of course you had the train station here. And even back in the 50s, I remember the passenger trains here, taking people to Kidweli. Now Kidweli was a big town then, bigger than Cefneithin. And people used to go to Kidweli where the dances, where the shops were, and go by train. You had the passenger train here. Okay, we come up here now to the Rugby Club. Right, I remember the Bridge pub being here. The Bridge pub before this Rugby Club. We had the Bridge pub, just a pub. And I tell you, we had changing rooms over here. Because I remember playing for the youth in Pontyates. And you had a shed here, a green shed, where we used to change to play rugby. And you only had the one field then. Now, funny enough, right, you had the one field over there, on the right. This field on the left was a swamp. I remember seeing, we used to go out and play rugby, and there was wild ducks and everything in this field here. It was all swamp. But they drained it, and you got 2 fields there now. And that's back when before the club was built. Right, going on here now. Of course, you didn't have the surgery then. We didn't have the surgery here then. The surgery, I forgot to point that out, was on the left here where you got a flat there now, but that used to be the surgery. And we used to have floods here. I'll never forget the floods. The Pontyates was always being flooded then before they done the wall on the side of the river, because you always had water here. It used to be 2 foot deep, you know. You couldn't even walk across it sometimes. Right, we're coming up to the bridge now, and I'll tell you something about the bridge, because back in the 20s and 30s, and a few old people told me this because I can't remember, this used to be a toll bridge. If you had any vehicle, well back then not many people had cars, but the farmers with tractors and any lorries, you had to pay to go over the bridge. It was a toll bridge. It's hard to believe now that you had to pay. A lot of people wouldn't do that today. But you could walk over it. You only have to pay if you had a vehicle, you see. Right, we go up here now. And I remember this being the church. I used to go there when I was a little boy. Of course, it's a house now. We go up here. Of course, this was the Queen's Pub. Go up here now. I think these Google Maps are brilliant. Oh, wait. I've forgotten to point out where... I said there's 3 chip shops. I've pointed one to you. I've forgotten to point out the other one. Go back down here. The other chip shop was in here. In here. This was where the second chip shop was. My hand's getting tired now holding this mobile up. It's difficult. I'm holding it up and trying to film, and it's getting really, really tired. So I'll have to finish now, but I'll show you where... This was where the third chip shop was. But there. This was where the third chip shop was. And this house here had a thatched roof to it. Back in the 50s, they've tiled over the thatched roof now, and I think they've got rid of it. But this is the oldest house you've got in Pontyates, by your look, further up than the post office. This house is old too, right? But that was the oldest house in Pontyates. I remember seeing photos of this house back in the 20s. Of course, this is where the post office. Right, I'll end now there. That is the history of Pontyates for you all, okay?